we done turned the corner yet again, H.P. Lovecraft style. Hey guys, thanks so much for clicking on the video. This is my review for Lovecraft Country. This is season 1, episode 7. What can I say? What can I say? The story for me has taken a left turn. Again, not even the story, I take that back. The show took a left turn. Okay? Y'all know, but I'm on board. No need to worry. I'm still on board. I'm still interested. I'm still going to follow. You know, I'm in it. I'm in it. So we here. We doing it. But it done took a little turn. This time, you know, the first time it took the Indiana Jones Tomb Raider turn, and I was like, I wasn't with it. Now this time we done took the whole Twilight Zone turn. And you know, I don't do the alien thing. It just whatever. Anyway, I'm still tuned in because there's still enough other stuff that's keeping me interested. Okay, so I'm gonna get through this as well as I can without dragging the story. Okay, so. Wait, we gotta say her name right. Hippolyta, that's her name. And I'm gonna get with that in a minute. Hippolyta is a thief, child, because she just stole the orrery from over at Letty's house, and she's trying to make it work. She kind of is like tried everything that she could. She's going through the notes, she's going through memories, she's doing all this, and then you know this is a lot of times with things with creative people and smart people. Child, you sit down and after you've tried everything and you're just exhausted, you lay down and boom, it comes right to you. Been there, done that. She did this and she got it to work. And then there's a key inside of the orrery and the globe on the top. She gets this here globe open and she gets this key, and I'm like, what's getting ready to go on? We get ready to go on another adventure, see, because I ain't for it. But I said, okay. Over at Christina's house, Christina Braithwaite, she go over there. Her and Ruby are talking. Ruby wants to know all of the truth, all of everything. She wants to be put down with what's going on. What am I actually mixed into? Because down in the basement, the actual white woman that she was turning into, her dead behind is down there. An old dead dude is down there. And it's like she got both the bodies down there. She's draining blood off of them and using the blood. William. She's using the blood to make the potion. She turns into William, and she used that same potion to turn Ruby into the white woman. So all of that. This is the stuff that I'm telling you. This witchcraft and stuff. That's the stuff that keeps me involved in what's actually going on. That's interesting. Tick and Letty are over at her place. Letty, that had a dream, like Tick's dream, following Anna out of the house, and then she catches on fire. But in her dream, she notices that she has this book in her hand. They figure out in some way that actually is what they believe is the Book of Names. That Christina and them are actually just looking for pages out of the book. They want to get to it because they want to get the whole book. They feel like if they get the whole book, then they'll actually have a leg up on Christina and crew. Okay, so that's the thing. They were like, maybe Anna's trying to tell us something, because why are we having the same dreams? And he's asking her, what else did you see? She didn't tell him about the pregnancy. And later on, she's pregnant, child. That's all. That's all there's to it. She's pregnant. But she ain't said nothing to nobody, okay? So that's that. Now, let's go over here to Sammy's house, to Sammy and Montrose over at Montrose's house. Montrose doesn't let Sammy stay the night. So I'm thinking, okay, so maybe Montrose is become one with himself. Because that's how it looked like things were going. But no. Like I told you, you can't date the trade, Sammy. And Montrose was acting real stupid. Real stupid. Everything's wrong. Um, just hiding in his closetness and really turning on Sammy. Sammy's feelings got hurt, and Sammy's like, every time I get a little close to you, you pull this. You start, acting crazy and then treat me bad. And he's like, and I'm just not going to be drugged into your craziness. I ain't got it to do. I'm getting tired. And he was getting ready to leave. And as he's going out the door, Montrose like chased him out in the hall and grabbed him by the arm and was like, don't go, whatever. In the midst of that, he ended up running into Letty and Tick in the hallway. So they see it and they're like, child, what is going on? And this is when Tick says to Sammy just kind of like was like, oh shoot. And he walks away. He walks off. Letty's just standing there. Tick's face is all tore up. He's like in a whole like place. And he says to him, so what they said is true. You're a faggot. Baby, that Montrose got angry, honey, and ripped his shirt off. Come your father, you don't call me out of my name. I was like, girl. Okay, so you like to play in the dark arts, honey, and now he knows. Now what we gonna do? Tick asked him, did mama know? And he's like, yes, she knew. So he got angry. He ran off. Montrose ends up saying to Letty, why did y'all come here? Why did y'all come here? So this is all a mess, okay? So Montrose goes back up in the room, to the house. Letty stayed up there and talked to him, basically told him what was going on and what had happened. They need to get connected to Tick's mother's side of the family, which is what Anna was on. She was on Tick's mother's side of the family. And Montrose ended up telling Letty, told her where she went, St. Louis. And all of that. And she had some friends and some family members down there, pointing them in a direction. Now, that's the last we saw of Montrose in this episode. Listen, let me tell you something. I got very nervous and anxious about Montrose at that point because people who struggle like Montrose, I hope Montrose doesn't do anything to himself, okay? Because that's like this really dark road that he's on, and I just don't want him. He's so evil and angry that I hope he doesn't do anything to himself, to harm himself. So that was like, I swear I was with that. I was like, I don't like that. But anyway, same time as this is going on, after they do that, Letty comes down. She's like, ain't even going to approach it. She basically tells Tick what needs to be told that Montrose told her. She's telling him everything is okay. Everything's going to be fine, And he's like angry because he's like, he was beating me back in the day because he kept saying he didn't want me to be soft. But meanwhile, the whole time, he was sampling in the dark arts and he was just basically lashing out, beating me because he was angry with everything that he was. So it was like a deflection and all of that. And he was very, very angry, which is fair that you get to be angry. You definitely get to be angry about that. Montrose didn't do everything right, but I mean, he's in a rough spot, but whatever. It's a place of craziness, so I get it. So surely we want to see more about this and how this is going to happen and how this is going to clear itself up, or if it's going to clear itself up. And like I said, I hope Montrose doesn't do anything to hurt himself. Or Sammy, because that's another crazy trade, honey, will resort to hurting the people that they've been messing around with who hold the secrets, or hurting both. So I don't want any of that craziness to happen. Over at um, Hippolyta's house, Ruby has come. She has Ruby to stay with D while she goes out of town because now she's going in search of. She's going the same direction, but they don't know it. Letty and Tick get there and they're trying to borrow the car. She's telling them, no, you're not borrowing the car. I'm on my way. I got to go do a trip for like work or whatever. And he's like, well, it's dangerous. You should have. She snapped out on him, told him, so what, did Uncle George put you in charge of me? Because I don't think so. I don't think he did that. Mind your business. No, you can't borrow the car or whatever you're doing. Using what you're going to St. Louis, then go on to St. Louis, but you'll be on the bus because you're not getting my car going. She's pissed because, again, she's on a mission. She really didn't want anybody asking her too many questions because she don't want to be talked out of it. And she wants to go do what she wants to do. And she's angry about them lying to her. She just knows in her gut that they lied to her about what happened to George. So that's her thing. So, anyway, Tick ends up going by himself. Letty ends up staying because she needs to get things squared away with Ruby. Okay, so just hold that right there. We're going to hold that. Her and Ruby did get to talk. There was forgiveness given. There was truths told about what had happened up to that point. Really clearing some things up and airing some things out. She says, well, maybe you're not all like Mama because Mama only ever thought about herself. And she said, and so that means maybe you're not totally like her because Mama would have never told on herself in the lie, So that was that. D is angry with Hippolyta about leaving her. So I think that's a cookie crumb that we probably going to get to with D. I think we're going to tap into some of D's story very soon. But she done lost her father, and now it seems like her mama don't got time for her, and she's becoming a little angry and a little bit dispositioned. So I think we're going to get into some of her in a minute. Let's go on down to St. Louis, okay? St. Louis. Tick then got on the bus. Tick has met up with a friend of his mother's. Now dig this. This episode, I sensed a lot of story about lesbianism. This is what I got a whole lot of lesbianism. I had a lesbonic type of feel around me this whole episode. I was like, what's going on? So the mother has this close friend, and both of them were widows, and then they just decided to stay together. And I said, were them two sampling in the dark hearts, honey? Anyway, so they go into all of this stuff, and there was a massacre where the white folks had come and they burned everything up that they thought was of some type of use back then. And at that point, they ended up talking about this book that the mother had and said it was some type of a family Bible or whatever. So he's like, right away, that's got to be the book of names is what that is. But he didn't lead into all that with her. Going through some of the pictures in the house, because the woman had gotten a phone call. She goes to the phone, and he happened to be looking at a picture. His mom was in the picture, and there was his mom or whatever. I don't think that was his mother. That was I think she was a friend of the. It wasn't a mother. She's like an aunt or something, an aunt or a cousin or whatever she is. But whoever the ancestor was of his had a mark on her arm. He actually has the same birthmark, looks like a birthmark on his back. And he noticed it, and he's looking. The woman ends up coming back. For the first, she said, baby, this phone's for you. And here it was. It was Letty on the phone. Letty, while she was at Hippolyta's house, she went into Hippolyta's room and sees the orrery there. And she tells Tick she done stole it, this, that, thing, and the other. They basically figure out Hippolyta is on this mission. And she's close to where he is. And she's probably going to be, she's in danger. If, thinking she's in danger. She's heading into danger. So, okay, right then, this is when it got for me. Okay? I was like, okay, cool. I'm all on the edge of the bed, like I am all the time. And then it just went stupid on me. Hippolyta had gotten to this place, and she gets in there, and there's like this machine. And it's like this whole type of little thing going on. There was a little saying that she had ran into. And, it was the whole Indiana Jones thing again. A little saying, you got this gold key that came out of the orrery. And then there's this machine, which ends up turning out to be like a time machine. And it gets into all this stuff. She puts these codes in. She gets the machine to work. And I'm just sitting there looking, and I'm like, you have now entered the Twilight Zone. And James is pissed because James don't do the Twilight Zone unless it's actually the Twilight Zone, which is in black and white. I don't need any new versions of the Twilight Zone to get on my nerves with the sci-fi bullshit. But this is where we're at. So it started going down that road. So Hippolyta's in there, and then she hears like cop cars because she got to bet us in there. And the cops end up coming in, and they're questioning her, and then they start roughing her up. And out of nowhere, here comes Tick, honey. And Tick beats the cops down and all of this. And in the midst of all of this, they're struggling and carrying on. And there's a gun, and the gun ends up falling out. Hippolyta gets the gun. She ends up shooting one of the cops and killing him. I said, oh, shit, Hippolyta. Let me just say something here. This is when it got really weird, because in the midst of all this going on, this machine ends up, it's a time machine, and this portal has actually opened while all of this is going on. The one cop that Tick was fighting with, he threw him into the portal. And then she shot the other cop. He's laying there bleeding to death. And this is when it got weird. Next thing you know, they're like, okay, we got to get out of here. Oh, my God, we got to get out of here. And then Hippolyta's standing there right by the portal, and she gets sucked into the portal. And Tick is trying to reach for her, and he gets sucked into the portal. So they're both in the portal now. But we're following Hippolyta in the portal. We never followed Tick. We don't know where Tick went in the portal, okay? We don't know where Tick actually went in with the portal. But he went wherever he went. Hippolyta went in, and then the story starts following her. She ends up in space. We see an alien that is very Beyonce-esque with this fierce old afro. She really was given... It was given LaBelle back in the day. And I was like, girl, come on, honey. Voulez-vous crochet a croissant, honey? What is really going on now? And she would look fierce. Baby, she looked fierce. She looked like a Donna Summer / Patti LaBelle, Nona Hendrix, LaBelle, Barbie doll. She was fierce. But she was like basically walking Hippolyta through this thing, and she's saying, who are you? What are you? What is your, all this. They go through all this space shit that I'm not getting ready to do. Because sitting through it was enough. I'm not getting ready to sit here and do all this in this review. You know I hate this kind of stuff. I ain't got it to do. But she went through a whole thing, in short, of finding herself. And the time machine was allowing her, because it kept saying, you're not in a prison. You're not, and she would come by and she would say, because she's real tall, and she'd tell Hippolyta, she tried to fight her. She's like, girl, get out of here. But you're not in a prison. Where do you want to go? Where do you want to be? So the first time she said, I want to be in Paris dancing with Josephine Baker. And the portal took her there. Next you know, she was on stage, baby. It was given she was on stage. And then here comes Josephine Baker. I said, oh, Josephine. I said, okay. So we went through all that. Of course, I enjoyed that because, I love me some Josephine Baker. But in that, then we jumped into the lesbian part because now we had to get into this whole little thing about how Josephine Baker was a lesbian. And it was showing depictions of this forbidden love that she had for this female and all of this. And we show Hippolyta was down for the dark arts, honey, and they was smoking weed and shaking bananas and just doing it, having a good time. So I was like, okay, so we stayed in that. Then she came back. Then she went, the portal took her to another thing, honey, because she ended up, saying, I'm a star, but I'm not the kind of star that I want to be. It just seems that it's all for nothing. It was like really breaking her down, and she was all the insecurities and all of this and colorism and all the things that a brown skinned curvy girl goes through. All of that. We went through all of that. So it was a journey into all of that, dealing with the insecurities and becoming strong and all of that. So I'm like, okay, cool. I don't know why we had to go to space to do all that, but we did all that. And I was like, all right. So I was still hanging on. And I was like, I ignored the alien Barbie, and I'm like, okay, cool. I'm going through the history with her. Then she ends up going, now you got to go get strong. After you done figured out what your issues are, she ended up in a land of Amazons, and she was learning to be a warrior princess, and she was learning to fight, and then she was leading the fight, and it was like, what do you want? She's like, I want to kill the white man, honey. And basically she was learning to lead the tribe to destroy the white man. Okay, now right then is where I said, oh, Hippolyta. And I kept saying the name Hippolyta reminded me of something. And then when I got here, I said, I get it. It's not Hippolyta, it's Hippolyta. Hippolyta is actually pronounced Hippolyta, which is actually Wonder Woman's mother. And the whole Greek god, the Greek mythology stuff, it's Hippolyta. She's a Amazon queen, and that is the legend of Wonder Woman. Hippolyta is Wonder Woman's mother. So I said, oh, so you know how we do with names, baby. She ain't Hippolyta. She's Hippolyta, honey. You know how we put our spin on the name, honey. Catch it. But anyway, Hippolyta, Wonder Woman. I said, okay, all right, cool. I'm making something to make me stay interested. I said, okay. So that's what that was about, with all the Amazon stuff. And we did all the Amazon. Again, and whenever you're dealing with Amazons, there's another feel of lesbianism around in the room, honey. I said, okay, cool. All right, I got it. So building these strong warrior women and all of that. And I'm like, okay, I'm on board. I got it. Then it takes and flashes her. She wants to be back, kind of back home, kind of, but not just yet. Wanted to be back with George. So then it ported her to George. And then her and George are like in this little place. And then she realized she really wasn't all that happy with George. She loved him. But again, he stifled her from being who she was. There was a little bit of a, men sometimes carry a little jealousy for their women, and they kind of hold them in position and things like that. So she had to went through all that, and she worked through all that. Then she goes back again, and then this time she says she wanted to go home. And we seen her, it really got spacey at that point and got on my nerves. Like they were walking on the moon and they was floating, and it was just stupid, child. She had purple wig on, and she was looking like the character that Dee drew and all that. I didn't want no parts of all that. But anyway, so they go through all of that. Half hour of this bullshit. And then we end up coming out of the portal. Tick comes out of the portal, and he's looking for Hippolyta. Hippolyta, on Hippolyta, he's looking for her. He has her book in his hand, which is the book of H.P. Lovecraft. Got that book, the Lovecraft Country. We got that. He has that in his hand. The cop is still laying on the floor, bleeding out. We don't know where Tick went when he was in the portal. But now he's back, and he ends up running off and leaving. Because Hippolyta, I guess he figured she wasn't coming out of there. So he ended up running off, and he left. And in the midst of it, we end up seeing the one picture that Dee drew for her little comic book was left behind. It was underneath the cop that got shot, and it actually had Dee's name on it. I was like, oh shit. So we don't know where Hippolyta is, or if she's on her way back home. I'm sure she is on her way back home because the alien kept telling her, you're not in prison. You're not in prison. And they did actually play Lady Marmalade when she was in Paris at the Bulldagger party, honey. She was there, and it was, you know, it was like a whole gay, lesbian festival. They was having a good time, baby. I said, yes, honey. The party was popping. I was like, come on, just, yes, get it, honey. And they were playing Lady Marmalade. So I was like, yes, honey. He let mama lie down on New Orleans. Yeah, so all that was cool. But we don't know where she is. Tick them ran off. The picture's left behind, so they know Dee's name. The cop is dead. And I'm over all the space shit. But I'm still on board. I'm still reporting with y'all. Y'all get on down in the comments and we can kick some stuff back and forth. What did I leave out? What did I miss? What did I miss? I know there was another little cookie crumb. There was a woman on a motorcycle. She's somebody famous. But you know they do that. They always throw in these black legends. There's something, she's somebody famous, and I don't know if that's going to come up again, but don't know the real story. But there was a reason for seeing a black woman riding a motorcycle like that. Like, what was that about? Anyway, all right, I'm out of here. That was episode 7, Lovecraft Country. Y'all know I don't like the space stuff. I don't like the Indiana Jones stuff, but come on, we're hanging on. But eventually we're going to make it back to the vampires and the monsters and all that. And I'll be happy again. All right, y'all. I love y'all. I will see y'all in the comments later.